Hey guys, Indie Prepper here. Again, talking about low-cost firearm prepping options and first-time ownership and all of that. We're talking about shotguns. Now, a lot of folks out there will tell you that a shotgun is absolutely the ultimate weapon, the only thing you need to prepare yourself. I disagree with that highly. I say that's not the case. I would say that a shotgun is a wonderful tool with a lot of options. Wonderful as far as versatility. A lot of good things you can do with it. I'd say it's probably the most versatile firearm other than a 22, because 22 is not the best for defense. But if you want defense and collecting game and whatnot, 22's fine, but a shotgun's probably better overall. Nothing wrong with a shotgun, and I'm certainly not bad-mouthing them, but shotguns have their limitations. I would say that the shotgun is best used in a kind of survival or bad situation for home defense. I'd say there's nothing better overall for in the home defense than a shotgun. Bar none. Shotgun's going to get the job done. Very good, very cheap, very reliable, lots and lots of ammo options. Tremendous options for loadouts and stuff like that. Relatively inexpensive to shoot for the amount of firepower you get. Lots of options as far as, well, not a lot, but a fair number of options for the gauge and bore of the shotgun, depending on your limitations or your abilities. Nothing wrong with shotgun. Shotguns are great. I'm going to say that for a standard price point for a shotgun, I'd say $300, $300 to $350. Thinking of your Mossberg 500s, your Remington 870s, all of that. Again, all those are standard price shotguns, in my thinking anyway. Nothing wrong with that. Got those, love them. Good stuff. We're talking about stuff that's cheaper than that. We're looking at less expensive options. This one being a Mossberg Maverick 88, and this one's in 12 gauge. We'll talk about the firearms here after a while, and the specifics of barrel length and all that other type stuff. Shotguns are great, but like I said, they have their limitations. I'd say the biggest limitation of a shotgun is range. They don't have a lot of range. They're just, you can't hit something as reliably as you can with a rifle round, be that a 22 or a 9mm or anything like that. Now, you got slugs. You do have slugs. Nothing wrong with slugs, but that takes a little bit of practice, well, a fair amount of practice in my opinion, and experience to use a slug. Your average buckshot load is not going to reach that far. 25 yards at the absolute most of effectiveness, and you're not going to hit with that many pellets at that point due to the spread on the thing, but you can hit something that range. If something's engaging you at 50 yards or longer, are you going to need a slug? Yeah, you will. Could you hit it at 50 yards? You could, but you hit something easier with a 22 or a centerfire rifle cartridge, just any type of centerfire rifle cartridge. Those are meant for range. Shotguns aren't meant for range. They're up close and personal. Frankly, I don't want to be up close and personal. I don't want you in my face and me having to, shoot you 7 yards away in my face around a corner. If I had to, sure. I would not carry a shotgun as my primary if in a bug-out situation. Absolutely would not. Not my first choice. Now, I've had a lot of people with me and a lot of people with arms where somebody or several somebodies have shotguns. Oh, yeah. They're good stuff. If I had to go into small spaces, that type of stuff, turning corners and whatnot. But if I'm out in the woods and I see somebody 100 yards away and they've got a rifle and I've got a shotgun, I'm at a distinct disadvantage if I have a slug. If I have a slug, if I have the whole shotgun loaded full of slugs, if he's got an AR-15, an AK-47, heck, maybe even a bolt-action rifle, the bolt-action rifle is going to kick my butt most likely. He's got front and rear sights on that thing. I've got the bead sight on the front of this thing. The rifle's going to win, probably, if you've got equal skill of arms. So, shotguns have their limitations. I like having the option of reaching out and touching something. If you see a deer 100 yards away and all you've got is buckshot, you're out of luck with the shotgun. You just are. So, enough of that. Enough rambling on. Again, for in the house, for home defense, for keeping bad guys from breaking in your windows, oh yeah, shotgun. All the way, all the time. It's going to get the job done. Good stuff. Now, there's lots of shotgun options. The two biggest ones are pump action and obviously semi-auto. There's of course the break action, single shot shotguns or double barrel shotguns, over-unders. We'll talk about that, when we're talking about specific firearms. Let's talk about the gauges. 12 gauge. Obviously the standard out there overall. There's a 12 gauge round, or shell, not a round. Very devastating if the proper load is used. You can go anywhere between birdshot all the way up to buckshot and slugs and buck and ball. My personal favorite here, the Centurion multi-defense, but we're not talking about that here. But a lot of people are recoil sensitive. 12 gauge is a lot of kick. It's a lot of shotgun. You teach a woman to shoot who's a smaller frame, this, that, and the other, a child, something like that. 12 gauge is probably going to scare them away. It's probably too much. I like my 12 gauges. I don't have a problem with them. But of course, I also own 20 gauges. A 20 gauge, here's a 20 gauge. Let's compare that to the 12. Again, I'm not talking ammo here necessarily. You can see that it's a little bit smaller, a little lighter on the recoil and all of that. I'd say the 20 gauge is probably the best option to teach someone of a smaller frame who's a little too recoil sensitive on the 12 gauge. Lots of options on the 20 gauge. You can get buckshot, you can bird shot. This one's buck. This is copper plated buckshot, which you might be able to see right there. That's decent. Nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But if I had to hit somebody once with something, I'd prefer to hit them with a 12 gauge. If that's too much for you, you've got the 410. Here's a little 410. I'll compare it to the 20 right there. Much smaller bore on it. That's a bore, not a gauge. 410 is not a gauge, despite what you may hear. 410, very lightweight. Anybody can handle a 410. But if I'm trying to hit a bird on the wing, doing it with a 410, that requires a fairly high amount of skill. Could I do it? Yes. But could your average person in a stressed out situation do it? Maybe not. Again, 12 gauge is going to be better. 20 gauge is slightly better, or slightly worse rather, than the 12. But both are better than the 410. Nothing wrong with the 410. If you've already got a 410, one of your Taurus Judge's handguns, and you don't want a different caliber of shotgun, yeah, maybe the 410's okay. That may be fine. If you don't want to stock extra calibers and gauges and ammo types, if you can handle the 12 gauge, go ahead and get the 12. 12 is very cheap, very affordable, lots of options. Again, we're not talking about that specifically, but like I said before, I think the worst thing about shotguns is their limited range and limited ammo capacity. That little Mossberg Plinkster right here has got a 10-round magazine. Then they also now make 25-round mags. 25 rounds versus the 6 that are going to be in this thing. Well, depends on how far off the target is. This is going to be a lot slower to reload overall than the 22. It has its limitations. Now, the shots you fire, if they hit, are going to hurt bad. But again, if I'm firing buckshot at something over 50 yards away, not going to do a whole lot. I may keep their heads down. They may not, stare around. But, I don't know. Shotguns are not the best for taking out in the wild, in my opinion, taking out away from home. If you're in your homestead, in your house in the middle of the night, somebody's coming in, oh yeah, this is the way to go. We'll talk about pump actions versus the break actions and all that in individual firearms. I think pump is the best way to go because it requires the least maintenance. Nothing wrong with semi-auto, got those too. We talked about those also. So, there we are, shotguns. I would say this is the second weapon you probably need to own and prep with overall for low cost. Again, because it's low cost, keep this in the home. This is your home gun. 22 is your outside varmint type, foraging type weapon. Could you use a shotgun? You could. But the only problem with shotguns is the ammo is heavy. This is one round and one shell of a 12 gauge. How much or how many 22s could I fill in the exact same space and the weight of that? Oh, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 maybe, if not more for the weight, if I wasn't even thinking about the space. 20 rounds? I'd rather have 20 rounds than one, because once I fired this one, it's gone. Or this one, or even the little 410. Again, how many 22s could I carry in light of a 410? A lot. Now, I'm not saying don't carry a shotgun, or don't own one. You need a shotgun. I think everybody needs a shotgun. I think everybody needs one of everything. Everybody needs a handgun, a shotgun, a 22 rifle, and a centerfire rifle, just because you do. So, shotguns, we're going to be talking about, again, under the $250 to $300 range is what I'm going to aim at in my review here, because, again, we're looking at low-cost options, not standard cost. So, if you want better stuff, that's fine. I've got better stuff too, but that's not the purpose. Alright, guys. I've ranted enough about shotguns and their abilities and limitations. Let's get on to the actual firearms. MD Prepper, out.